I'll be showing you the second franchise zoo that I made. It mostly consists out of African animals as it came out after the African DLC. As you can see, just like in the first video, in my first franchise zoo, you can see that I just have the default entrance. But where you come out of it, you can clearly see I have way more space. On the first one, it was really crowded where you got out. But I just decided to make this a bit more open. But something similar is that directly on the right, instantly you have a staff area that I blocked off. If you go straight, you have a big animal instantly, which I decided to do. It's an African lion, I'm pretty sure. You have this nice little glass area, which is where you can slightly go in. Have a bit of a round view. I kind of regret having like these big parts in the middle, as I probably should have just tried to make it full on only glass around. A bit of a better view. Habitat, I had an idea of making, you know, like the big rock from the Lion King, but it ended up being very hard, so I just made this, made like a rock at the end, at the back, and just made it their sleeping area. I just have a couple climbing areas in here, bit of water. Besides that, nothing really special. So instantly big animal, but instead, if you go to the left of the entrance, you have a very small animal. It's a fox, an African fox, some sort of African fox. So it has a very low fence. I have these little curves in the fence for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen any. They're very small, so might be a bit tough. But yeah, I just made these little rocks in the center for them to climb on, live around, to make them seem like they have cover. But the special thing about this exhibit, about this habitat, is in the back here, where all these people are. Is where you have a two-way glass, where you can see them just sleeping. I think most part of it, mostly it's just a default shelter. But then I made these rocks on all sides and a little hole on that side, allow them to go in. Then on the left, here we have hyenas. I mean, I didn't really have too much of a specific plan with this one. As you can see, it's just a lot of water. Yeah, a lot of water and a little like rock bridge over to sort of like a camp, but then not for people. Like maybe the idea here is that the hyenas, I don't completely remember, but like they took over the camp of some humans or whatever, because there's like a car here. And like they wouldn't have been able to place those things, obviously. But that's their like sheltered area. It doesn't have a roof, but they do sleep here. And I think because they were complaining about not having like any roofed sheltered area, I just made this in the back, which is also just fills it out a bit. I don't really like how I have these different types of. Oh, and there's another shelter area over there. I don't like how I have different types of fences around, like those weird rocks in the back there, and then brick on the right. But overall, I was quite happy with this one. I should have added some steam though, I think, in the water to make it I think that would have fit the hyenas. Moving on is... Yeah, so if you're on the left, you might have noticed that there's another exhibit on the right there. This building, this is a shelter that I also used in my first franchise zoo, with like just little windows here. I'm not sure where I got this shelter, if it's like from the Steam Workshop or if I made it myself, but I kind of like it. I quite like it. Then you just have some zebras fighting or playing or whatever. You have a chain link fence, and you can go up these stairs, which is the main viewing area, as intended. Where on the right you have these giraffes, and on the left you have the zebras with like a connecting water source. I know you probably can have them in the same habitat, but for whatever reason I decided against it and just like made it two separate habitats, without really noticing that it's two separate habitats, as it like flows over into each other. But like below there's a fence on both sides. So yeah, the idea was like, yeah, I guess like a very not good looking waterfall over there that feeds this little river that then just extends through both habitats. Now I'm thinking I should have even made that connect to the hyena one, because the water's right there. Would have made a lot of sense. So for the giraffes, if I get out through this crowd, you also can, of course, just walk around the exhibit without really any special viewing areas. This is unfortunate, as I think I plan to have 1 or 2 more animals on this side to finish off the zoo. Most sides are blocked off, besides like this side continuing to the hyenas, which is very unfortunate, as I came very close to finishing the zoo, but I haven't, unfortunately, or I didn't, as I moved on. But yeah, you just have this little rock formation here, which could have also connected to the, whatever exhibit was here, whatever habitat. And then you have this building, which you might have noticed. It's not made by me at all. I think I just found it on the Steam Workshop, and I liked the way it looked, and I wanted to make something like that, and I just decided to use this. Looks pretty cool. You just have this viewing area over here, but I can't take credit for that. Yeah, so it's unfortunate I didn't finish off the zoo here, even with just rocks to block it off, but it looked a lot better. We just have these couple buildings here, just some food and drinks for guests, all just an African theme, with some custom areas like these, where I just plopped a bunch of things together, including, apparently, I think these are from the India pack cosmetics. Yeah, so that's the left side of the zoo. So we're going to go over to the other side. So in the zoo, you might have noticed there's a lot more buildings that are, even if they're mostly default, I added some like unique parts, like, for example, this middle bit. Even though it doesn't look good, I started to try to make stuff more made by me. But the guests tend to just walk through it, as this is placed on top of like squared paths. Same happens with this fountain in the middle, or not fountain, like just this centerpiece. But yeah, I tried to like fill more empty spaces with little plant blocks like this. And for example, not having just one fence, as I'm pretty sure this is electric fence, having 2 fences, which usually happens in zoos, to stop the guests from getting too close. So when you head along the right, you just have a bunch of probably default African-style buildings. Over here you have camels, or the other one, what is this? Yeah, it's a camel. But this habitat is, I kind of like this, as it very much closes off the zoo. It's not that you just have a big empty space behind it. But besides that, it's not really that special. For whatever reason, even though it doesn't really fit the animal, I made this layered, as you can see, with different layers of elevated land. It looks good, but I'm not sure if it's the right animal that I use it on. I like that I tried to hide most of the fence in the back. But as you can see, for example, like I could have done a bit of a better job to also hide this part. And especially here in the back. Like, I have these beautiful rocks, why didn't I just not have the fence visible? And the same goes for here, as I could have just connected this to the shelter of the habitat next to it. I just made it a null fence to have it seem a bit less fenced in and seem a bit bigger. This is the only part where I have exhibit animals, next to another area for the guests, where they can sit and eat. Go to this center area, little park area, we have some exhibits in the middle. I didn't really team them just to be African animals. I don't think I did. So that's something I should have done, probably, to just keep in team. As everything is like desert land, and then I have these more tropical areas, which is a bit unfortunate. But I have apparently an albino snake, I'm pretty sure. This is cool. If you continue to walk along this side, you have this little area where you can watch into another shelter. But there's nothing in there. So we just walk along this brick wall where there isn't anything visible to keep guests moving, as it's too small here, which I probably should have thought of. And then you come to this area, which is like a bit of a unique viewing area, but apparently guests don't come in here. I just use these pillars or whatever they are to make it seem like a different type of fence where you can like peek through. But I don't think I can see any of the animals, which is unfortunate. I also added like this little ditch in front of it, for whatever reason. I guess a lot of zoos do that, where they have ditches in front of fences. make the animals come close without actually being dangerously close. But I mean, with rhinos, it wouldn't have helped, as that's what animals in here. You can see them over there, and a baby one. So we just have another glass viewport here. And when you walk past all these just random things I placed, you can also view them from this little bridge. Yeah, you have like a bit of like wetlands, I guess, over here. A giant, the very thick tree. And then the rhinos over there with another big tree, actually, that I barely noticed, that I placed on a hill for whatever reason. It's a interesting choice by me, definitely. Okay, let's just get through these guests. They're kind of way too many. Then again, this is like all very finished. Besides, I guess I should have done a slightly better job to hide this part. There's just more guest areas. As you can see, it's very busy. Probably should have used a wider path here. Actually, I missed one thing. When you're up here, you could also look into the habitat on the left slightly from up here, but you won't be able to see very much. The main way to look into this habitat is to go inside, as is a walkthrough, walk-in habitat. As you can see, it's a... I don't know what these animals are called again. Let me just quickly find one as I showcase this shelter that I made on the ground, which was a pain to make, and they're not even in there. These are another... Oh, there's one. Meerkat. Okay. So you have this... I think I kind of made this after a zoo I've been to, and you can like walk through it. And I mean, I probably would have made it a bit more like the elevated areas, if it was possible, a bit close to the path to like make it almost link and be straight up instead of like this slope. But this also works. And it's just two sides with not much going on, just mostly flat land with a bit of elevation changes and a couple rocks and a couple enrichment items and small plants. This was very tough to make, as I needed to, you know, include a guest port, a staff port, which is through this staff area back here. And then I also needed to make sure that they can walk up there and that the animals can go between the two sides that they are on, so I couldn't just link these two sides. And I made this little like custom shelter, underground shelter, which I really liked. And I tried to hide like the fence and just the outside on it with just the plants, but I placed all of them down, and then they weren't happy because there were too many plants around. They have all this open space, but they didn't like that there was too many plants on the outside, which then stopped me from really adding much plants on the inside either, which was a bit of a mistake, but it's fun in the end. Yeah, then again, we have this open area, which I came through earlier, leading to the giraffes. So if I come out of this view, I'm pretty sure I looked at every animal. Yeah, this too came a lot close to finishing. What I did well is I had a bit of a goal with wanting to include mostly just African animals. But yeah, I think I like this one a lot better than the first one, as I started to finish it off, building the edges around it, and I almost completed it. Maybe I should have like added the penguins here, or the African penguins, or some other animal, maybe elephants, and then just finish it off like that. And also stopped it here to make it like a complete zoo. But yeah, as you can see, just like in the first zoo, I tried to have a bit of a gimmick on every enclosure. Like in some cases, it's like a unique viewing port or a shelter, like with the foxes over here. Not all of them really have something very unique. And they're like, for example, this is a very basic way to just make a shelter. But I still like, for example, this one, where I just make it seem like one habitat, even though it could have been one habitat, without actually being one habitat. Yeah, thank you for watching.